lot of us on the left, a lot of liberals, a lot of classical liberals, a lot of social libertarians, a lot of centrists, a lot of moderate rightists now find ourselves in a very peculiar position, because elements of the social justice pseudo-left, the regressive left and so on, now suddenly want our help. After getting on for nearly a decade of oppressing us, in the actual meaning of the word, calling us names, attacking our businesses, our livelihoods, our character, our beliefs, misrepresenting us, strawmanning us, and generally being shitty to us. Suddenly, some of them at least, want our help, and even as they're asking for our help, that shitty behaviour is not stopping. Any skepticism, any objectivity, any rationality, any thought, any moderation, any attempt to get to the truth or understand what's going on beyond the surface, anything other than condemning people outright as Nazis or whatever, is still met with that same behaviour that got us here in the first place, that same behaviour that has, well, let's just say it, persecuted and treated people horribly. That's still going on, and yet they now want our help.
And all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper, "No."
It's understandable, it's tempting, it's human to revel in the fact that people have been so shit to you, are now having a hard time, are now panicking, are now themselves feeling persecuted and shit and horrible. It's an understandable reaction. When they've burned all the bridges, what real motivation do you have to start construction on a new one? What reason do you have to reach out, especially when many of them, still have a watch post on the other side of the river, looking for any bridges being built and deliberately trying to smash them down, even as others start to change their mind. It's understandable to harbour resentment, especially when they're still doing that, especially when they didn't listen when you were warning them that this would happen, if they didn't modify their behaviour that this is exactly what would happen. It's nice to be right, even in the midst of disaster. How many of us have been criticising the pseudo-left, the regressive left, the social justice warriors for how long, and for how many of us has that been in the form of a warning of exactly what has been happening? Brad Torgerson put it fairly well from someone with a right-wing perspective, but certainly a lot of, for sake of ease, let's call them genuine or actual liberals, certainly feel the same way. Here is the thing though, many moderate conservatives are looking at this situation and asking, why should we help against Trump? When we were thrown to the wolves during the period everyone assumed Hillary was the automatic winner. Apparently, moderate conservatives are only useful as soon as the much vaunted permanent demographic majority blows up in the face of the progressives who gloated from 2012 onward about how moderate conservatives, cough, stupid uneducated white men, cough, were going the way of the dinosaur. Liberals don't realise the extent of the bad blood that's been created during the Obama years, the waves of contempt which were heaped upon the heads of moderate conservatives. Now you may be saying, I did not do any of that. No, maybe you did not. But the media did, and still does. The entertainment industry did, and still does. Democrats in office did, and still do. Why should we help at all when we've been told for 8 years that we are second-class citizens, that we are no longer needed, anyway, and besides which, we're all a bunch of closet racists, homophobes, sexists and whatnot? Now, suddenly we're needed again? Many moderate conservatives have half a mind to just let Trump do his worst and watch Trump burn it all to the ground. Now, like I say, this is an understandable and human point of view. I feel resentful towards people as well, and I'm not even on the right. I'm a far leftist, and yet this pseudo-left, this regressive left has attacked me and people like me, has made life extremely difficult for us, have betrayed the values that we hold dear. And even if we do help, I'm under no illusions whatsoever that this is going to actually win us any friends. Should this Trumpian revolution be stymied, turned back, overcome, they'll just go right back to attacking us again. I mean, they haven't stopped. Even in the midst of all this, if you're trying to be the sane opposition, which is what the role for us, I think, is, they're still going to be attacking you, accusing you of apologia for Trump and so on, just for trying to get to the facts and creating a sane opposition. But that's the role, I think, that the genuine left, the centrists, the moderate right, I think that is our role. Because Trump is awful. Yes, he's doing exactly what he promised he'd do. So if you voted for him and you meant it, that's good so far. But many of these ideas and policies that are being mooted are pointless, disastrous, or are going to cause more problems down the line. But we can acknowledge when he's done things that are good, like nixing the TPP. But so much of the opposition isn't rational, isn't fact-oriented. It's the equivalent of InfoWars, but from the left. But we can't just turn aside. You know, our criticisms of the left are still important, even more important now if opposition is to be effective. And our criticisms of the right, we can't ignore them when they are doing things wrong, when they are causing problems, any more than we could ignore the left. Sure, get your own house in order, but we can still criticize the right. So I think we should be the bigger men in this instance. I don't think we should just let it burn. There are things that need reform. There is going to be a massive backlash to Trump, which could be as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Trump himself. So it's important to be involved from that perspective, to be part of that wave. We've seen some attempts on some quarters to reach out and rebuild bridges. I think that the Young Turks have somewhat moderated in some areas and doubled down and gotten worse in others. But people like Kyle Kalinske is reaching out. There are outlets who have been fair in the past, like Dave Pacman, who are becoming more politically active, and I think it's important for moderate, reasonable, sane, rational, skeptical voices to get involved in all of these counter movements at a ground level, in order to ensure that they don't just end up being the mirror image of Trump further down the line and extend the oppression and persecution and illiberal policies that got us here in the first place, that are keeping us here, that are making the opposition to Trump so utterly ineffective with their lunacy. So I think that's our role. That would be my appeal today to people like me who are on the left but have been shut out and persecuted by the pseudo-left, to the centrists who want to take things from all over the political map and construct something sane and pragmatic, and from the moderate people on the right who see this extremity for what it is, who maybe agree with the ideas but not the implementation or the degree. You know, we can be the sane opposition. We can be the people who look at the issues. We can be the people that drill down to the facts. We can be the people that moderate and make the opposition to Trump effective, sane, and rational. So, can we do that, please? Zang.